Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking into a really somber case. It's incredibly important, though, because it highlights such a severe breach of trust, but also the power of modern investigation.
Yeah, he really does.
We're focusing on the sources surrounding the tragic death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. And our mission here is to, try and understand the sequence of events, look at the evidence that brought the perpetrator to justice, and explore the really critical discussions this case has sparked about child safety and accountability.
And what's, well, maybe striking is the word, is how the investigation just unraveled this really complex narrative. It exposed years of betrayal, relying so heavily on digital footprints.
Those digital clues, yeah.
So we'll explore not just, what happened factually, but the bigger implications for families, for communities, really.
We've got a pretty comprehensive stack of sources for you. Official reports, court documents, which are quite chilling, and media coverage, too. They all paint a clear, though heartbreaking picture. Okay, let's get into this deep dive.
Yeah.
So first, to really understand the horror here and the justice that followed, we have to talk about Madeline Soto herself. Our sources describe her as this vibrant, cherished 13-year-old from Kissimmee, Florida.
Yeah, an exceptional swimmer, apparently. Quick learner, fearless, curious.
Intelligent, loved to perform. Her family remembers her as witty, outspoken. Her laugh, they described it as free, sweet, and sincere.
That's lovely. And she had this unique light, they said, with so much love to give.
Her aunt made a really powerful point, didn't she? That Madeline should be remembered for those qualities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not the abuse, not the exploitation she endured from her abuser. It's vital to remember her.
It really is, which makes the betrayal so much harder to grasp.
It does. And that raises the question, how could this even happen? In her own home.
Wow.
Stephen Michael Stearns, 37 years old, the live-in boyfriend of Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto.
He was in this position of, well, what the sources call apparent trust.
Exactly. He built up this father figure persona, took her to school often, involved in her activities. It's a classic grooming tactic, unfortunately.
And that established trust, it created these opportunities for that trusted alone time. That's the phrase used.
Right. And this is where it gets truly disturbing.
Because the sources show he systematically exploited that access for years, going back to when Madeline was just 8 years old in 2022.
8 years old. It's textbook predatory behavior, weaponizing that trust within the family itself.
Yeah.
And you look at the broader picture, his role, this familial or custodial authority, it made her especially vulnerable.
Completely.
This case is just a tragic illustration of how predators use that intimate access, that closeness, to inflict harm. It really forces us to think about vigilance, about noticing subtle signs, even when things look secure on the surface.
You think you know. You think it's safe.
Precisely.
So the timeline of her disappearance. Madeline was reported missing around 8 p.m., February 26, 2024. Her mother realized she never got to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And Stephen Stearns, he immediately offered an alibi, a fabricated one.
Right. Claimed he dropped her off near a preschool, Peace United Methodist Preschool, at 8:40 a.m., but her actual middle school was further down the road, started later.
The details didn't add up from the start.
Not at all. He even threw in this bizarre story about Madeline wanting to live in the woods when she turned 13, trying to deflect suspicion.
Which didn't work because the surveillance footage just dismantled his story almost immediately.
It's incredible how quickly that happened.
Investigators used everything, license plate readers, surveillance cameras, traffic cams, to build this incredibly precise timeline for February 26th. And it just completely contradicted what Stearns was saying.
Let's walk through that timeline because the details are chilling.
Okay.
7:30 a.m. His car is seen driving to a dumpster, Venetian Bay area.
And Madeline is visible in the passenger seat,
Right.
wearing a green sweatshirt, but her head is. The reports say slumped over to the left in an abnormal and motionless position.
Motionless, that's a bit, yeah. Stearns dumps 2 big white trash bags there.
And later, they find her backpack and her school laptop in that exact dumpster.
Unbelievable. Then, from 8:10 a.m. to just after 9 a.m.
He's just driving around Central Florida. Madeline's still in that same slumped, abnormal position, clearly proving he never dropped her off at school.
Then, 9:35 to 9:41 a.m., he drives into a parking garage, backs into a space.
And the camera catches him moving Madeline, still in the green sweatshirt, blue pants, moving her into the trunk of his car. Then he leaves the garage.
Into the trunk, okay. Then 10:14 a.m.
He's back entering Venetian Bay. But Madeline isn't visible in the front seat anymore.
And then from 11:22 a.m. to just after 2 p.m.,
His car is tracked, heading towards St. Cloud. Later, it's seen with a spare tire on it,
which suggests.
consistent with stopping somewhere rural, which is where eventually her body was found.
Right, and then one more stop.
3:21 p.m. He's seen again disposing of more items in another dumpster back in Venetian Bay.
The calculation in that timeline is just cold.
It really is.
Yeah.
A clear effort to conceal everything. But then there's the digital forensic side, which was just as crucial, maybe even more so.
Even though he tried to wipe his phone.
Twice. He did 2 factory resets, one around noon on the 26th, another at midnight on the 27th.
Yeah.
Claimed they were accidental.
Accidental. A factory reset takes deliberate steps, doesn't it?
Exactly. The police report noted that, multiple steps. But investigators, they still managed to access his phone and his Google Drive.
And what they found?
It's staggering.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of images and videos, child sexual abuse material. The victim clearly resembling Madeline.
Dating back to 2022, when she was
8 years old.
Yeah.
And many images showed her apparently asleep.
Which connects to some other finds, potentially. But this digital trail.
It highlights something huge, right? Our digital lives, our devices, the cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
They create this almost indelible record. They become, as the source material puts it, indispensable witnesses.
Silent observers that you can't really erase completely.
Yeah. His attempts to wipe the data were desperate, but ultimately futile. It shows how hard it's becoming for criminals to hide in our connected world. Data recovery is just getting too good. There's always a path back.
And there were other leads, too, weren't there? The internet searches.
Right. He'd searched for sevoflurane, that's a volatile anesthetic,
An anesthetic. Okay.
and also searched show up in drug test. Now, they couldn't definitively link the sevoflurane to the images of her appearing asleep or find it in her system later.
But it's deeply unsettling circumstantial evidence. Adds to that grim picture.
Definitely. And then his jail calls, they weren't outright confessions, but
Incriminating in parts.
you could say that. On April 10th, he tells his parents, I'm not sure really that any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it. Vague, evasive.
Trying to spread the blame, maybe.
Seems like it. And he also said, I've never felt anything like that before. It was horrible. Again, vague. He dodged his father's direct questions about the truth.
And he admitted going somewhere to...
On May 14th, he admitted going to his parents' house on February 28th. Why? To get my ducks in a row.
Which investigators believed meant.
Trying to delete more images from his Google account, likely using their computer or network.
And crucially, throughout these calls.
He never denied murdering Madeline. Never.
Then, the worst discovery. March 1st, 2024. 5 days after she went missing.
Her body was found. Wooded area off Hickory Tree Road in Osceola County.
And the medical examiner confirmed.
Death by strangulation. Classified as a homicide, no question.
So the legal process kicks in almost immediately. Days after her body was found, Stearns was charged, initially with sexual abuse.
Which quickly escalated to first-degree murder. And by April 2024, a grand jury indicted him on just his overwhelming list, 60 counts.
60. Can you break that down? It's a lot.
It is. 1 count of first-degree murder, then 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery on a child 12 to 18, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, and then 40 counts, 40 of unlawful possession of 10 or more images depicting child sexual performance.
That list, it just visually hammers home the scale, the duration, the systematic nature of the abuse she suffered.
Absolutely. It wasn't an isolated incident. It was long-term, pervasive, and initially he pleaded not guilty to all of it.
Right. Both the sex abuse and the murder charges.
But the state was clearly taking this extremely seriously.
They announced they'd seek the death penalty, right, in June 2024.
Yes, the Ninth Judicial Circuit Attorney's Office did. They cited aggravating factors, the murder happening during aggravated child abuse, Madeline's vulnerability because of his position of authority.
Like trust factor again.
Exactly, and just the, quote, heinous nature of the crime. His defense naturally fought against the death penalty push.
But then something changed. July 21st, 2025, right before the sexual battery trial was supposed to start.
A complete reversal. Stearns abruptly changed his plea. He entered no contest to the first-degree murder charge.
No contest, meaning not admitting guilt, but accepting the conviction.
Correct. And he pleaded guilty, explicitly guilty, to all the other 60 sex crime charges.
Yeah.
All of them.
So what did that mean for the death penalty?
That plea agreement meant the prosecutors agreed not to pursue it.
Okay. So the sentence.
Osceola County Circuit Judge Keith Karsten sentenced him to multiple life sentences, No possibility of parole, ever. Life for the murder, and another life sentence for the 20 distinct sex offenses.
He made a statement, apparently.
A brief one, under 90 seconds. Expressed sorrow, but significantly did not explicitly admit he was directly responsible for the murder itself. Still, that layer of evasion, maybe.
Interesting.
And this plea bargain, it tells us something about the justice system, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, from the prosecution's view, they get a guaranteed conviction. Life without parole, Stearns is never getting out. And they avoid a potentially very long, very costly, and emotionally brutal death penalty trial and appeals process.
Certainty versus the ultimate penalty.
Exactly. And for Stearns, well, he avoids the death penalty, which his lawyers were fighting hard against. It highlights the strategic calculations involved. Certainty and judicial efficiency sometimes shape the outcome.
Right. But the legal outcome doesn't erase the human cost. The sentencing hearing.
Must have been incredibly difficult. Madeline's family and friends gave victim impact statements.
Her father, Tyler Wallace, his words were just searing. Called Stearns depraved, weak, and a coward.
Said their pain doesn't heal with time, and told Stearns, "You do not deserve peace. You do not deserve mercy. You deserve to carry the weight of her pain every single day, just how we will carry it for the rest of our lives."
The weight of that. Unimaginable.
And her aunt spoke about Madeline's fearless and resilient nature, her smile that lit up our entire life. But now, no one smiles anymore. No one laughs.
Yeah.
Most days I can't even leave my house. I feel like I can't breathe. Just shattered.
Her grandmother, too, recalling her sweet and sincere laugh, now silenced, described the family as empty and broken.
Hearing that raw pain, it just underscores that while the legal system delivered a verdict, a punishment, it can't mend those wounds.
No, never. And the case obviously got huge national attention, visuals, public outcry.
A lot of demands for accountability. And that outcry wasn't just directed at Stearns, was it?
No, it wasn't. There were, and still are, lingering questions about Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto. Her role, her awareness, potential complicity.
Especially given the duration of the abuse,
Yep.
years. Public discussion, particularly in, true crime circles, really focused on why she wasn't charged. There were mentions of alleged admissions to police letting Stearns sleep in the same bed as Madeline.
Right. These details fueled that public questioning.
And this is where you see that gap sometimes.
Hmm.
Between the legal resolution for the main perpetrator, Stearns, and this ongoing public familial sense that justice isn't quite complete.
Like there are still unanswered questions about how this was allowed to happen for so long.
Exactly. This ongoing inquiry into potential protection failures, especially regarding the mother. It points to what some sources call a disturbing legal gray zone between neglect and criminality.
Where does inaction cross the line? It's a tough question.
It really is. And it shows that justice, in the public mind, often goes beyond just convicting the person who committed the final act. It includes accountability, understanding systemic failures.
So, wrapping our heads around all this, what does this deep dive really tell us? What are the main takeaways?
Well, first and foremost, it starkly highlights how vulnerable children can be, even in their own homes, especially when the perpetrator is someone in a position of trust.
That abuse of trust is central.
Absolutely. And it sparked rightfully widespread discussion about needing more public awareness, about child sexual abuse, about the subtle, insidious nature of grooming.
And the signs parents or guardians absolutely need to recognize and act on urgently.
This case really forces us to confront that need for enhanced child protection awareness, for unwavering vigilance against those grooming behaviors. It's a stark reminder that protecting kids is, well, it's everyone's responsibility, a collective duty.
It truly is. Madeline Soto's death is just a profound tragedy. It exposes the absolute worst kind of betrayal, the insidious nature of this abuse. Stearns' life sentence ensures he's off the streets, held legally accountable.
And the investigation itself. The meticulous work, especially relying so heavily on digital forensics, on surveillance footage, it was absolutely critical in taking down his lies, securing that conviction.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? Our connected world leaves these digital breadcrumbs. For good or ill, they can lead to justice.
They certainly did here.
But even with Stearns convicted, the scars remain. For the family, obviously, and for the community, those lingering questions about broader accountability, about how the abuse persisted for so long, that stays.
It does. It serves as this powerful, enduring reminder that the impact of such crimes radiates far beyond the courtroom.
So if we zoom out, what's the biggest lesson here?
For me, it underscores that the greatest dangers can sometimes come from within the closest circles. It really compels us all to ask,
Yeah.
how do we foster better awareness? How do we challenge that apparent trust that predators exploit so effectively?
Yeah. So, as you, the listener, reflect on this deep dive, maybe think about that. Think about how understanding the timeline, the role of digital evidence, how that knowledge can maybe help us all recognize red flags, support protective measures for kids in our own communities.
What can we carry forward from Madeline's story to try and prevent another tragedy like it?
A vital question. We've explored the depths of this complex and heartbreaking case today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.